Happy Equinox, everybody. NICO, aka Scarlet Moon, here back with another special video, and in today's video we're going to be talking about clearing and programming and cleansing crystals without external tools, just using your energy and calling in, and how to call in the highest divine light, highest source light. It's important to understand that, even though we have really cool tools that help us cleanse and clear crystals, that exercises like this can also be really good for learning how to activate our own energy bodies and to also, again, exercise a stronger, more ongoing and constant connection to pure source consciousness, to pure divine intelligence, which is a part of what we are. We're strengthening our bridge. And I think that this is actually something that, would also just be good to do as an exercise, as practice to learning how to work with your energy. Now, for those of you who maybe, don't know me, I am an astrologer, a tarot reader, I am a light server, path watcher, and a pagan, and a million and one other things. But those things do not necessarily define me or give me identity entirely. Sometimes when we throw out labels like that, it's really just about letting you see my CV. So please don't, think it goes super, super far beyond that. It's just my CV, it's just, a function that I'm performing, but it's not the entirety of who I am. But if you want to know, that's what they are right now, as of making this video. Now, when it comes to crystals themselves, there are always going to be times where we might want to, consider clearing them. Either they've had an accumulation of energies that we do not find desirable, or maybe as, again, we are going through our own transitions, our own elevations and shifts, they could be holding a certain layer of vibrational density that is no longer conducive to our experience. And if you're curious about density, please check out my video on density and timeline loops for more information on what's going on. And, we might want to actually find a way to even reprogram our crystals. Maybe, we don't want a crystal to hold a certain intention or function or vibration anymore. We want to use it and repurpose it for something else. That's kind of the cool thing about crystals, is that they are, reusable. They're kind of like, almost like a computer disk or something like that, where you can actually just sort of clear it and put something else on there if you'd like. Now, if you've been around the block, there are numerous ways to cleanse your crystals. Salt, running water, depending on the variety of crystal, that might not be a good idea, so do your research. Sage, smoke, incense, sound, singing bowls, and these are all tools themselves. Now, the thing that happens, though, is that if we get dependent on the using of tools, we don't actually develop, we don't actually develop our muscle, our spiritual strength as much as we possibly could. And that's why, it's important to also work on energy exercises when it comes to your spiritual practice, when it comes to manifestation work, when it comes to any kind of work. And so what we're going to do is we're actually going to work on two different things at the same time. Working on opening up and feeling a connection to your higher heart, and therefore, again, deepening a connection to source, and clearing and reprogramming crystals. So in my hand, I've actually got a crystal pendant that I actually got myself for a birthday present in mid-September. And I really, really love this pendant. It actually really does just sort of, it feels like it's mine, if that makes sense. And so it's, I've worked with it a few times, but I want to clear it for something else that I want to actually have it work for. Or maybe you just want to clear it so it can just be what it is. It all depends on how you choose to work with your crystals. So what we're going to do first is a very simple exercise, and we're going to work on getting into connection with our higher heart. And what we're going to do is basically call in the highest divine source light, okay? So this is basically what you would consider to be the pure creator intelligence light, behind everything, and, sort of at the very, very center of it all, behind all things, in the universe, on all realities, on all realms and dimensions. Okay, it's important to understand that, we talk about things like light and dark and holy and unholy and things like that. Those are actually variations of energies from outside, I guess you could say, the sphere of what we might call fourth dimensional consciousness. And you might want to watch the video on dimensions 1 through 7 to catch up if you're just getting here, okay? But let's look at the idea of what we might consider like the white light, the holy light, things like that. Those kinds of energies served a purpose for a time, but they were, in a sense, kind of adjusted or maybe denatured, just for the purposes of serving in the 3D and 4D experience, prior to our shift. And now that we're going into a different shift, we're kind of understanding that there are grades of that kind of light, not necessarily in a hierarchy, but once you get into that 5D consciousness, that 5D state, you're working with the very pure same source light as every other dimension of consciousness and reality above, all right, or expanded out, however you want to look at it. Again, linear progression, it's kind of a thing that we do, but it's a little bit more complicated than that. So when it comes to clearing your crystals without any tools whatsoever, right? Usually what we might do is we might call in, white light, or, visualize it in white light, or maybe a violet flame or something like that. But it's important to understand that, again, that's just working within a certain set of, dimensional parameters. And if we want a full, complete, clear, the density out of the way, we're also going to be giving an opportunity for the crystal itself to vibrate on a 5th dimensional and higher, even higher expression going all the way up, while it retains physical form. So, crystals can actually vibrate even all the way up on a 7th and sometimes even 8th dimensional level or vibration, right? So we want to and that's all using, again, that pure source light, not necessarily, again, the light of the 340 experience. So what that's going to do is it's not only going to clear the crystal of all unwanted energies and all programs, but it's actually going to be infusing it with that higher source light and opening up a permanent channel to that higher source light in that crystal. In essence, you're putting the crystal through an ascension process itself and exalting it and actually activating its higher function on, again, a more multidimensional level. I hope I'm making myself clear. And by virtue of doing that, you're opening and holding open your personal gateway to source, allowing you access to hold more of that pure light intelligence yourself, and then, of course, accelerating your spiritual evolution, your exaltation, and your ascension process, okay? And this is going to make you a more effective manifester. This is going to help you with any kind of energetic, spiritual, or magical practices that you are working on. It's going to help you to actually not only become more developed and capable, but also get into that creator state, into that higher heart state even faster, and allow you to also turn on more of your gifts. So the more practice, the more perfection. Let me run you through the exercise. So we're going to take our crystal, right, or in this case, pendant, and we're actually going to first set it aside. First thing we're going to do is actually set it aside, because we need to get in proper shape. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to, of course, find a way to get very comfortable, whether it's sitting, if you feel more comfortable standing. Sometimes standing is better for people to kind of get the energies flowing, whatever works for you. And once you get comfortable, it's time to start, getting ready to, activate our higher heart or get in connection with our higher heart. So just take a few breaths. And remember, it's important to do, the right kind of breathing for this exercise. Notice how I'm not breathing up like, you know, up into the top of my lungs and raising my shoulders or anything like that, or expanding my chest. I'm breathing in through into my stomach, filling the bottom of my lungs first. And exhaling slowly. And after a few deep breaths, bring your attention, your full attention, to your higher heart. Okay, now your higher heart, not your heart chakra, okay, but your higher heart is actually just a little bit above the middle of your sternum. So if you wanted to, say, use your hand, I always look at it as about 4 fingers down from the clavicle. And that's actually the higher heart point. And this is actually your personal, again, your personal gate to source, your personal doorway, your personal portal to source and your divine spark. And if you want to kind of wake it up, if you feel like you need to wake it up a little bit, you can give it a few thumps. Go within. And if you need to visualize in the beginning, that's fine. Just focus and look for this bright, silvery white crystal star. Now it might show up in different colors in the beginning. I've had mine show up as blue. If you see blue, it's fine. If you see gold, that's fine. If you see a diamond, again, white silvery light, that's fine. That is basically your portal. That is your door to source, okay? Remember, we all have a divine spark. Now what you want to do is you actually want to put all of your attention on that space and feel it start to open up. All right, and feel it start to expand and grow, and as it expands, more light comes out, more light. It might change colors, don't worry about it, just observe it. And then when you finally feel like you can actually feel that light, feel that energy, feel that electric pulse, just breathe into that energy. And just sit with it for a while. You might see in that energy some form of geometry. Some people see a diamond. Some people see an octahedron. Some people see, a dodecahedron, depending on what's going on there. I tend to see a glass, like a crystalline, almost glass octahedron with a little white, sometimes gold circle within it. And that's sort of like your piece of divine spark within you, your personal connection to source. What you're going to do is you're then going to take that personal connection from that light, or from whatever shape or geometry you see there, and you're going to send a line of light up through your crown, and just breathe it up. You might actually notice that even you're getting a good clearing, right? You might actually feel your own crown, something lift off your crown. You might feel the density of the air start to shift a little bit, because it's already connected. You're going to breathe that line all the way up, all the way up, a column of light through all dimensions, all layers of realities, clearing all folds and clouds and curtains, however those dimensions will part for you. Some people see waves moving away. And then you're going to feel the edge of those layers, edges of those dimensions, all the way up to this pure, golden, bright, shimmering, crystalline light. The pure, cosmic, universal source. And let that line go straight up into source, as far as it will go. And as soon as you do, just relax and feel a response from source. All the way coming down, embracing that line of light, covering that line of light, permeating that line of light that you've sent all the way down into your higher heart center. Finding a home. We now have our portal to source and another portal to source, open and active at the same time. Feel free to sit in this energy if you wish. You can call to source and say, I surrender to source, any and all impurity, density, or, any energies that are not held in my highest good. And what happens is when you open up and you surrender, while in connection, there's a purification that almost instantaneously occurs. If you wish to be more formal, you can say, I open up and surrender to the highest divine intelligence, the highest divine will, source, Tao, God, I am. I surrender to the highest light intelligence and I call that cosmic light into my being, into my higher heart, and allow it to clear and purify the entirety of my being. Breathe in more light, and as you breathe out, let that light spill over all of your energy fields, all expressions on all dimensions and realities, a full clearing, a full purification. And now, you are ready to work on your crystal. Take your crystal, or in this case the necklace, and you can hold it up to your higher heart if you'd like. Hold it before yourself. I like to hold it either in a prayer position or in an offering position. I extend a line of light from my higher heart to the crystal itself. Not just surrounding the crystal or enveloping the crystal, but penetrating the crystal right into the center. And I say, I call upon the highest divine light intelligence to now activate and open your portal and your light, your divine spark, existing within this necklace, within this crystal, within this chain, within this whole blessed creature that is also by extension your creation. And once you have that line from your heart center to the crystal's source center, you're going to actually send another cord of light up into the same source that you extended from your crown. And then you can say, I call in the highest divine intelligence to completely clear and purify this pendant in all ways, on all vibrations, on all realities, in time and on all dimensional experiences. Be clear of all programs, all energies, and all densities. May it be perfected, activated, and cleansed in Source's pure light intelligence. And to this pure light intelligence I surrender. Purify, clear, full, clear. And then sit in that. Let that flow. And then when you feel, you will feel intuitively that something is done, pull back your line from the crystal. Pull back your line and allow that line to remain down from source, opening and keeping activated the gate to source within this crystal. And as this crystal is worked and used and charged with this light, it is actually, again, going through its own ascension process, so to speak. Completely cleared. It can no longer accumulate density. Now, you will still need to clear crystals if you wish to clear them of an old, program or an old, frequency you don't wish to have anymore. But now you have a crystal that's ready and set for, again, higher dimensional work and, again, faster, more potent manifestation work. Now, it's important to understand that you should not approach this with any fear. Okay, this is, again, highest divine light intelligence. That is ultimately going to be supremely corrective, even if you accidentally think you're thinking the wrong thought. Or you might be trying to command that light to do something that's not in its own intelligence, its own, again, highest consciousness. It's not going to work, okay? It's going to completely purify and clear that crystal. Once you are done, you can, again, pull the lines back down, and the crystal is ready to be programmed to whatever you desire. I actually program the crystal to keep its line open, so that I actually have an open line of source on top of my open line to source, so I kind of have an expansion of that portal going all the time. You might need to take some breaks every once in a while if you're doing that. If you're going to keep that portal to source open so close to yours, it can accelerate an experience that, you might want to take some breaks from so you can integrate and activate properly so that the transition period is an easy one. Source is, going to be working in the best interest of all concerned when it comes to their ascension and evolution. We don't want to necessarily get hit with so much high energy that we're knocked off center at work or something like that. But eventually you will acclimate and it will feel totally fine. Sometimes that's not something for everybody right away. That's perfectly fine. Feel free to use this exercise to simply clear and purify on all dimensions and on all levels, not just the third and fourth dimension. And just remember to practice, practice, practice. You do this to clear your tools and your crystals, and it's also going to be working on you at the same time. You can even use this on candles, on herbs, on anything that you wish to sort of help bring it into, again, a higher vibrational state, to operate in a higher vibrational way. It's important to remember, though, again, these are all just tools, and therefore you don't need the crystal to access your higher heart, and you certainly don't need to practice on crystals to access your higher heart, but tools can be fun and helpful, and this exercise is fun and helpful and healing as well. So I hope you all enjoy it. Don't forget to come back for more videos here soon. I've got a video on gateways that I want to get up here in time for the equinox, and we're going to have some fun with that. And if you ever want to suggest a topic for me to talk about, you can leave me a comment below, and if you ever want to get a session with me, you can always go to my website. It's integrativemysticism.com.